Hello, welcome back to part 5 of this installment. We have here two two topics that we're going to be going into, or that they're going to be going into, is quantum entanglement and who is controlling us. I know a little bit about these, not quite as extensive as the previous topics, but it'll be intriguing to see what they have to say. So let's go ahead and get rolling.
Verse to the other instantaneously. So quantum entanglement.
It's amazing. Quantum entanglement first came to me when I was just doing a walking meditation. It came to me as parabolic down conversion. And so I go and look it up. A lot of my information comes to me like that, and then I go research it and find out it's actually
I love
real.
that. Yeah,
It's the
totally.
craziest thing.
It's coming from the field. You're getting it from the field, and then I find that with so many brilliant people that are doing this total esoteric knowledge research
Yeah.
is that you actually back into it. You're like you have an epiphany, you think
Hmm.
something, and then you figure it out. So
Exactly. It's exactly how it happens. So I'm like parabolic down conversion. So I go look it up. It's the method used to take two particles and phase shift them on the same frequency so that you can quantum entangle the particles. Then you can take one particle and shift it to the other end of the universe if you can get there. And when you change the particle local to you, the other one will change instantaneously. In other words, if one is in a spin rate up, the other one will go spin rate down. When you twist this one and put it down, this one will go up, and vice versa. So you can create this up-down communication between two entangled particles. It goes even further than that. Scientists now discovered that you can quantum entangle through conscious thought. And they've actually entangled people's thoughts together now. They took one person and put him in front of a video game screen, put another person that was, I think, in two laboratories away. He had the remote control. The guy in front of the screen was blindfolded. The guy who was two laboratories away was looking at the screen, but the one that was blindfolded had the remote control. I mean, so the one that was looking was controlling the hand of the one that was blindfolded to play the game. So they entangled two minds already, real science. So we know that when we get an epiphany like that, there's very rarely an original thought. A lot of the times we get in sync with a thought that already exists because we know that all thoughts are light waves. So every single thought you're thinking right now, and I'm thinking right now, it generates waves that leave our skull and go out into the ether permanently, forever. And so that's why the Akashic Records is real. That's why the Book of Life is real, because everyone's conscious thoughts are all around us, floating around in this ether we call the grid. And it's all this, everything everywhere is all connected. And so you can get in sync with something and you can download it. And if you can discern that download, you can have an epiphany moment. And so quantum entanglement is so incredible because if you really understand where we're going to go in the future with communications, it's going to be quantum entangled communications. So right now, if you travel from Earth to the rings of Saturn on a vacation, it takes you 3 months to send a message back and to get the message, get the message to Earth and get the message back to the spaceship. So if there's a problem, you really got a real problem because nobody's coming to help you. But if you have a quantum entangled communications device on Earth and you take one with you in the ship, or you have a communications array that's been launched years ahead into deep space, you can communicate with the array or your quantum entangled communications device. You can instantaneously send a response and get a response back. And
I will say that that's probably, like, if you remember early in one of the previous videos I did with him, where they were talking about the Sumerian deities, the Annunaki. They would communicate with crystal tablets, and so it would presumably, these tablets that they were communicating with were quantum, had some sort of quantum entanglement happening, and the quantum, yeah, you could use it for communications. However, like if you were out on Mars and you needed you were in some sort of trouble, even if you could immediately radio back to Earth, they're not going to be able to get to you for months, or however long the trip is between Earth and Mars, unless that you have some sort of like portal system or space folding, or something like that, because that's about the only way you're going to get any sort of help.
And so that's where the future is going to go with this quantum entanglement. But as far as humans go, understanding that all thoughts and ideas and concepts most likely are downloaded from the field. Very few original thoughts. I think that almost everything that can be thought of has already been thought. And
as it says, I forgot who said it in the Bible. There's nothing new under the sun. I suppose in a sense that could mean that your thoughts too. I don't know exactly where if he's just pulling this off of like his own personal theories, or if he has something to back it up. I kind of I'm getting the impression that we've gone beyond beyond anything that's in the tablets that he was referring to.
And exist in this soup, just like an alien race 2 light years away can pick up I Love Lucy from 1960, because that radio wave, which is a wave of light, can be picked up and decoded, and you can watch I Love Lucy from 1960.
So what's the mechanism that...
I don't know if it is an energy wave, yes, but I wouldn't exactly qualify it as a wave of light.
Connects it though, and this is where I get a little spun out. And I've heard from a physicist that inside of each and every one of us is a black hole. And then I start to think that maybe we're this, it gives me like this pathway to a loop where everything, you are the universe, like you hold all the frequencies and patterns. So there's just this sort of like infinite looping that's happening within you, but also in the universe, because it's one and the same.
Oh yeah, something just occurred to me. Earlier he spoke about the Book of Life. I don't know exactly if he's referring to the same book that like the book of the Lamb's Book of Life. I think that's what it was called. Which is basically all the names of those within salvation. I guess it was who are going to be up in heaven. He might be talking about a different Book of Life, but it's the only one that I know of. So supposedly all those names were recorded prior to the existence of humanity. But the funny thing is about the future is that the future isn't set. Names can be blotted out, and just as they can be blotted out, they can be added.
Aim through possibly like black holes or something. Is that
it's
even
it's through fractals?
Right.
We're a fractal of the whole. And in a fractal, if you look at a hologram, if you go to the smallest piece of a hologram, you'll find the whole image in the smallest piece. The only thing you lose is resolution. And we're living in a fractal holographic matrix. That's what we're actually living in. And this whole thing is one giant energetic grid. And the thing about it is distance is an illusion. The distance between where I am now in Florida and wherever you are right now in the world is actually, it doesn't even exist. We're local in the same location. We're still connected in the same location. Individuality, separation, all illusions doesn't exist. There's only...
Well, it exists in the world that we are governed by. I mean, yeah, granted, it exists within the world that we are governed by. When you go into, like, if you go into the world of, like, video games, computer games, and stuff like that, that everything in that world, yes, it's you could call it an illusion or a simulation or whatever it is, but to the programs that reside within it, it's real, and it will last so long as the servers keep running. Just kind of like here. Just kind of like our existence, it will last so long as God the Creator keeps the power on.
One entity and one consciousness providing this third dimension with the illusion of separation. And quantum entanglement, and the way that an avatar body is set up, like from thoughts, for example, if you look at our mind, and then you also look at Einstein's theory of relativity, if you take a planet in space, it warps space around it. And that warped space allows things to fall toward the planet. That's right. The warped gravity, right, effect. Mm-hmm. Our conscious thoughts warp the ether of space-time. and create this well. And that's how the law of attraction works. Things fall toward us based on what we're warping, what we're focusing on. The energy field that we're using to warp, that's what begins to fall towards us.
Your thought is what is being warped towards it, which is why you have to be careful what you think of.
Exactly. So we're creating our own gravity wells, and we have our...
As Jesus said, life and death spoken through the mouth, or something like that. Through your voice you speak life and death. As we are light, hard light, and sound frequencies, thoughts included. So keep positive. Negative thoughts are going to create a negative feedback loop. Positive thoughts are going to create a positive feedback loop.
We're creating this situation where we are entangling with information based on frequencies, and whatever that...
Again, another statement from Jesus, where he said, "Find joy in suffering. Find joy in suffering."
That, and whatever that frequency we're on when we're thinking, that's the warp space that's now sending back low frequency things. Or if you're in high frequency warp space, it's sending back high frequency things. You're entangling with things in the universe based on the frequency you're at.
So one of my greatest questions is, well, these are such deep rabbit holes, and someone like my dad would be like, "Why are you looking into stuff that you can't prove?" I'm like, well, you got to ask the question. If we can get closer to the answer, then I feel like I'll know how to live this life better. I'll know how to play this game better. So what does all that teach us about how to best play this game of life and be as happy and joyful as possible?
Yeah, great question. Because that's really what's on everybody's minds. Like,
Right.
How do I play in the matrix here? Like, what am I supposed to do? And
You can try accepting Jesus. Learning, walking with the Creator. It's the one thing that we have as humans, descendants of Adam, that no other I guess like natural born race has, as far as I know. Simply because any other races out there, any other entities were not created, at least sentient. Yeah, God created all the animals and stuff like that, but we are the only ones made in His image.
And when I began to realize that I was on a data collection mission, and my mission was to not only collect the information, but figure out a way that I'm supposed to bring heaven to earth. I'm not supposed to wait to die so that I can live. I'm supposed to live now in this realm. And then when my corporeal body releases my spirit energy, I'm going to live again and again.
May thy kingdom come, thy will be done. It's the plan for bringing heaven to earth, the New Jerusalem, has been in motion. Been in motion since its inception.
And every ascension process, my mission is to achieve the highest, most best lifestyle, living entity, energy, help, love, expressions, artistic.
Not if you're human. There might be some other race where, like as I said in a previous video, that do recycle the souls, that do have reincarnation, past lives, all that. We do not. And it's really unfortunate, because it's unfortunate that he's taken this this Gnostic New Age track. It's like he's almost there, but he's jumped into the world of the New Age, which is not new. It's old. The entire New Age was conceived, gosh, I think it was by Aleister Crowley, but it's basically just witchcraft light.
Creation that I possibly can in every single dimension. And I think that for me, that's the understanding I got. And so when I figured that out, when I had that epiphany, I said, wow, my job here is to, how many people can I help? How can I assist others? How can I learn how to walk in abundance? How can I be true to myself? How can I be the best that I can be? And also, how can I stop and smell the roses and be blessed and enjoy my blessings and be thankful for every single thing that I get my hands on, everything that comes to me? How can I truly be heartfully grateful for it? I learned my lessons.
Thank the creator. It's like he's just almost there. It's like he's just on the other side of a paper thin wall, and he chooses to stay there.
When something happens and goes wrong, or I make a mistake, do I continue to make that same mistake, or do I learn from that and become better and better and better? And that begins the process and the step-by-step process for ascension. And that will ride me out of this realm and out of this dimension into the next one, so I can continue to build on that and become better and better and better.
So it's to progress through the dimensions?
Yeah. See, the third dimension is a proving ground. It's a testing ground. It's an area, a place for you to come as an inexperienced soul and begin to learn and make mistakes and grow and see what you can do, and also a certain level of suffering. And then when you begin to master this dimension, I think that people who don't master it keep coming back over and over and over again. I think you can get to a point, according to Thoth and the Emerald Tablets, that you actually can then begin to incarnate at will, he says, where you can incarnate on and in the plane that you desire. So plane means dimension.
Ye shall be as gods. Remember, that was the first that was the first lie that Eve believed. It was the first lie, and it just keeps getting retold.
So he's saying that you can get so good at this game that you can actually come back in any dimension you want, or any location you want, any time frame you want, past or present or future.
Let's talk about, like, perhaps the more nefarious evil forces here that hold us back from that reality.
Yeah.
What would they be?
Both calls them the Dark Brothers in the Emerald Tablets. He says the Dark Brothers, and behold of the Dark Brothers, they're behind the scenes, pulling all the strings, controlling the world, controlling the people from behind the scenes in the darkness, which is exactly what we have. We have 100 families operating behind the scenes, controlling 8 billion people. And what he warns is that it's really our fault that this happens, and this has happened. He's absolutely right. If you understand what's going on this planet and the control and the boot that's on our neck right now, we have been in complete collusion with that happening to us. We have allowed it to happen because there's no way 8 billion people.
History repeating itself. I'm sure that Thoth was a not a malevolent individual. This, because I'd like to think that not every single non-angelic entity is not wicked, not out for deception, not out for themselves, and these these spirits we're seeing again today. Jonathan Cahn wrote a book, The Return of the Gods, like Return of the Old Gods or something like that, and they could be the ones chained up under the Euphrates for all I know. Time will tell.
Participation is our collusion. It's our approval to continue to accept what's being done to us. And what they've done is something brilliant: divide and conquer. They've got us divided, which has conquered us. They've got the political system, left wing, right wing. You got the races, black, white, red, yellow, green, blue, whatever. You got all these things. You got the different kind of churches. You're Protestant, I'm Catholic, no, I'm Baptist. All this is separation, right? And so with this separation tactics, what's happened is we can't see the smoke that they're blowing up our butt. We have to realize, look, we got to come together. We need to organize. We need to stop playing this game. There's only one way to stop this cabal from operating on this planet, and that's for all of us to come together and do one thing: just stop playing the game. And when we do that, we will then create a new economic system. We'll create a new...
Well, he's right. But but these not it's not realistic. There was I forget who it was, but there was an exorcist or Catholic priest who was saying that all the evil in the world could be banished if everybody just came to Christ. And he's right. That, however, I mean, let's just take a look at the practicality of it. You know, people have to, even if you could get everybody to agree that that's where we needed to go, we tear each other apart on how to get on just how to get there, which is why there's all these denominations of Christianity. I could be wrong. I don't know if there's any denominations of like Islam, or really any other form of religion out there. There might be different denominations of Islam or different factions. I'm not terribly. I know that you got like the super fundamentalist type, but I'm pretty certain that it's all pretty much just one faction.
Structure for leadership in this country or the world, actually. And we could release suppressed technologies and create an abundant civilization on this planet because there's more than enough for 20 billion people to live here and thrive.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I think if you took all the people, all the people that exist in the world right now, you could fit them on a quarter acre in Australia. But now, granted, that's not practical because you need like farmland and you need building and places to work and whatnot. But if you just taking into consideration as to how little space we actually take up, and even if you like when you fly across America, the vast majority of America is uninhabited, and it's only in dense population centers. But the planet could probably sustain 20-30 billion people easy. You just have to, it's just a matter of responsibility and not wicked people in governments like we have now. Governments and I guess like the world of the 1%, or maybe even the world of the 0.01%, the Davos elite.
Right.
Then, we have 8 billion people here, but 90% of those people are suffering. So we can create a civilization that would be like an oasis in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy, but it's up to us to learn and develop and work past this divide and conquer stuff and understand that we're all brothers and sisters and that we're supposed to work together and love one another and help one another and not allow.
He's absolutely right.
These global elitists to destroy us and pin us against each other. When there's a war being called, they're never on the front line. It's always us.
I say a lot when I comment on war is that the problem with war is that all the wrong people die. All the people who call the war are not the ones that fight it.
If you want to go to war, then there should be a law. Any politician or ruler that calls a war,
yeah,
they should be the first one. Them and their families go first. You guys go first, and then let us know what happens when the front line's down.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. However, who's going to write that law? The politicians? That's what I'm saying. These things are just not practical. And there's no national citizens initiative. There is in no world will this ever get put together. At least not within our current structure. We would have to completely revolt against the existing federal system. Probably hang 80% of the people, and then rebuild a new one.
Then we'll come out next. There'll never be a war again.
So is it extraterrestrials? Is it? I mean, there's always the talk about reptilians.
Well, it says there would never be a war again. They would just never declare a war. Technically, America is not at war, but we have conflicts running all over the place. No war has been declared since World War II. Even I guess this war on terrorism, but no war against like the against another country has been called, and when it's not our troops that are doing it, like like the take for instance this whole situation with Ukraine and Russia. That what's going on there is America fighting Russia and just using the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian public, the Ukrainian government to fight the war. So it's not our troops, but it's your money, your taxpayer dollars that's going in to fund it, as well as any other Western nation or any nation that's pitching into that, and it's also your bombs, your planes, your ammunition. They Kiev doesn't have. Ukraine does not have the resources to take on something as big as Russia. And even with our support, they still don't have it because they don't have the manpower for it. It's the longer this drags on, the more Ukrainian and Russian citizens are going to perish. It's really tragic. So all I can say is stop sending these clowns money.
Is there extraterrestrial? Just are they working through our consciousness? I mean, shoot, I even heard an old story, a story from someone I interviewed, Elizabeth April, saying that the Anunnaki and the reptilians were here, and that the Galactic Federation said, "You guys got to go." And
one thing I would say about I've heard a number about these reptilians. However, anytime somebody has like a testimony where they have gone into experience hell either through a vision or they were actually their spirit had descended down there and then taken back up, almost all the time the vast majority of the spirits down there are some form of reptilian.
Anunnaki were like, "Peace, see ya," and this was in Egypt. And the reptilians were like, "No, no, no, we don't want to leave." And they're like, "Fine, but you can't be seen by the humans." And so they went underground, and then they started going through our consciousness to control us. And that
hell demons. I mean, demons not in the sense that we know them up here as like the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, but yeah, that could very well be the spirits that we see in hell.
They essentially still run the world, but we just don't see them.
Some of it comes out of the Nag Hammadi scripts. So they believed in this reptilian type of a race that was in this phase shifted reality that can actually dominate mankind from this behind the veil type mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
The whispers on your shoulder.
They also have another one that kind of looks like an embryonic person, but it's embryonic. It looks like a gray alien. Kind of weird stuff in these Nag Hammadi scripts. And it talks about these kind of beings. There's also been crypts in places underground, even in the Americas, where they found remnants of what seemed to be this ancient reptilian race. And of course, in Sumeria, they found the Ubaid culture with thousands of statuettes of these reptilian people. So there could be some truth to that. There could be some actual truth to that. In terms of who's running the world right now, I believe there's still people who are in direct bloodline with the Sumerian Kings list. The Sumerian Kings list, which is located at the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England, has a list of kings that ruled for hundreds of thousands of years. And these kings were not humans. They were these Anunnaki people. Some ruled for 14,400, one ruled for 28,000, another one ruled for 7,800 years. And these ruling periods are like mind-blowing time frame. I had to go there in person to witness it and look at it with my own eyes, which I did. And there are people who believe they're the direct descendants of these beings and that they have the right to rule over human beings still to this very day.
Yeah, excuse me, very much possible. I've been noticing that there's more and more encounters, testimonies with hybrids. Where people are encountering them, and the hybrid basically lets the mask slip, and like the And then you also have like the phenomenon of like the black-eyed kids. That's an interesting one. Um, there was a fellow, I think he was a fireman or something like that, who um, like went on like he took it as like a professional date or something like that, because it was the lady was somebody who was a client of his, um, and she started exhibiting reptilian features, um, like split tongue, long split tongue. She snatched a fly off of a wine glass with it, type of thing. And it had the whole like she was always wearing sunglasses even when it was dark, but she took the sunglasses off and she had reptilian type eyes, reptilian slit eyes and stuff.
And so I think a lot of those are these families behind the scenes that are ruling. They could have more of a direct bloodline to these alien people.
How do we overcome that other than what's the steps? I understand that we can't participate anymore, but what are the steps?
You can get a close relationship with the creator. Just a thought, you know.
Just like what would we do next?
Well, the steps are what you're doing, a podcast like this, the work that I do, and many others around the world that are trying to help awaken mankind from various different aspects, podcasts, TV shows, productions, internet influencers, books, and everything else we got going on. It's all this edutainment that we're putting out to try to enlighten and awaken people to find out who they truly are first. And once you find out who you are, then you can begin to reach out and realize, wow, everyone is me.
We are children of God. At least most of us. It's becoming more and more apparent that there's a number of non-children of God that are walking among us.
I got to help as many people as I can. There's the process we're just in the beginning process of the global mass awakening.
Right.
And eventually we will come to a point where people will realize who we truly are and what we're supposed to do here. And we will take back control of this planet, because no empire can persist forever. I've read over 1,000 books, scriptures, cylinder scrolls, papyruses. I've been all around the world to all kind of indigenous ancient cultures. Nowhere has it ever been written that one empire is going to rule for all eternity, not one place. And so I think that we're in a situation where there's this cycle with circular civilizations that rise and fall of civilization.
One thing to comment on that is that in the next era is supposed to be Jesus's millennial reign. We don't know exactly. Now, it's stated that it's supposed to be a millennial reign, for like 1,000 years or something like that. We don't know what's on the other side of that, but Earth is supposed to be the seat of power when the seat of power of the Son of God, or the Son of Man, Son of God, Jesus. His seat of power is supposed to be here in the New Jerusalem for his millennial kingdom. So, time will tell.
And that at some point we will rise back into a golden age and take back control of this planet.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Rising towards the golden age. Timothy Alberino has actually just recently been discussing his theory on that one, and I suggest people checking out his work. He's been doing some interviews that has been going into the new golden age, Christ's golden age, and it's really interesting because Billy Carson here, he's so close to the truth, but he keeps accepting this kernel of lie, this Gnostic lie, and so maybe one day he'll drop that veil. But anyhow, gonna leave it here for the time being. Looks like we've got one more segment coming up. What are the next two? So we've got rising towards the golden age, and then how space is changing. Well, that'll be interesting. All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, folks, and look forward to the next one. Bye.